Welcome to the Journey to Your podcast. I'm Jess, an intuitive medium, Reiki practitioner, life coach, and energy artist. For years, I struggled with burnout, anxiety, and unresolved trauma until a life-changing loss pushed me to break free from old patterns and trust my intuition. Now, I help women like you do the same. This podcast is your guide to uncovering your most authentic self, connecting with your intuition, and transforming your life from the inside out. Wherever you are on your healing journey, you're in the right place. Now let's get started. I know what it's like to long for a sign, to wonder if a loved one made it to the other side, if they see you now, if they heard the goodbye you never got to say. That longing is what led me to embrace mediumship, not just for myself, but for others who carry unanswered questions in their hearts. In this episode, we'll explore what it's like to experience an intuitive mediumship session for the first time, what to expect, how to prepare, and why an open heart is the key to connection. And by the way, if you're ready to learn more after this episode, you can download my free guide in the show notes to help you prepare for your own session. If you are listening to this episode, you may have been in my shoes whenever my mom passed away. I was really curious if I should meet with a medium. I had never done that before, but things changed whenever I lost my mom unexpectedly. I had things that I didn't get a chance to say, questions that I wanted answers to, and I was just ready for all of that. I was also deep in grief, and because I was working with my NLP coach at the time, who is also an intuitive medium, I felt strongly that when she started offering intuitive development classes, I wanted to be a part of that. So I began working with Verna as an instructor to help me develop my own intuitive abilities. But I definitely had the motivation riding underneath that I was really hoping to connect with my mom. And I also wanted to know that if my mom was around, I wanted to know. I wanted to know what to do, what to say, what it would feel like, because I had only experienced what I knew of mediums and psychics from TV and movies. And let me tell you what, they don't paint a very harmonious, lovely, peaceful, happy picture. I kind of feel like I had more nerves and feelings of being afraid because of what I saw going on in movies, and also I would say in religion as well. So I had a lot of limiting beliefs surrounding that. But whenever I was working with Verna and going through my intuitive development classes early on, I was able to connect with my mom. This led me into Reiki and learning a little bit more about how I can sense energy, how to open up my clair senses even deeper than what these initial intuitive development classes were like. And I started working with my Reiki master to learn how to channel. And so it's been a couple of years that I've been working on mediumship, but only recently that I have felt the call to start offering that as a service to my clients. And so whenever I decided to do that, I knew that there were people who were in my shoes way back when, as I was deciding, okay, should I do this or should I not? What does it even feel like? So in this episode, I want to talk to you about my experience and how I offer intuitive spirit readings, so that if this might be your first time or you are considering going to a medium or a psychic for the first time, this episode will prepare you and you will feel more comfortable in knowing that you're in good hands. I also want to say this, and if you happen to download my guide to help you prepare in a deeper way, I want you to know that intuitive readings and energy work can really deepen your awareness of your own personal healing journey. They have for me in so many ways, but they are not meant to fix you or resolve your mental, emotional, or psychological challenges. This is a tool, it is a resource, this connection. So, when you engage in intuitive energy services, whether it is a spirit reading, a psychic reading, an aura reading, or even Reiki healing, just know it's so important to keep an open mind and release any specific expectations. Energy will flow where your intentions are going. However, you are also going to be receiving energy and messages that are meant for you at that particular moment in time. And I will say too, you may have questions, and spirit might say, the answer is not for you right now. Whenever you are meeting with an intuitive medium, it's really natural to hope for a connection with a specific loved one. I know that whenever I first started working with mediums, and I have worked with a couple of them, I always hoped that there would be some messages coming through from my mom or my grandmother who had passed away shortly after my mom. I really wanted to connect with them and I wanted to hear things from them. It was like, I wanted to connect with their essence. It felt like they were with me whenever I was talking to a medium, and it brought me so much comfort and peace whenever I first had those early connections. But sometimes the loved one you really want to come through may not be the one who's coming through with the messages you need to hear during that session. So, again, keep an open mind and an open heart. Whatever's meant for you will come to you. All right, so I want to take a few moments before we get started into what you might do to prepare for a session and talk to you a little bit about how mediums can connect with you during your session. You are able to work with mediums who meet with you in person. So perhaps you go to a local metaphysical store, or maybe you have a medium in your community who has their own shop, their own store, where you can go into that healing space and receive services there. You can meet with them in person there. You might also meet with a medium over a phone call or over Zoom. I think that whenever you are choosing who to see in these readings, that you go with someone who you feel good about, whose energy is warm and welcoming, non-judgmental, kind, and also you'll want to work with someone maybe who you know and you trust. And perhaps you might even have a friend who can recommend a medium that he or she or they have met with before. It's always nice to connect with someone where you can say, oh, my friend recommended you to me and they had a really good experience. I think it just makes it so much easier. Every single one of the mediums, as I'm thinking back, I've had that situation. I've had a friend recommend that person to me, and that's exactly why I went to them. Okay, so now let's dig in. How might you prepare for your first session? The first thing that I want to share with you is that you can start setting intentions and inviting in spirit. So, what do I mean by that? Once you set an appointment for a session, for a reading, you might take some time to go to your journal or maybe pray or sit quietly and set your intentions. You may say something like, and I'll give you an example that I have done before from that intuitive development class that I shared about earlier. When I first started taking those classes, I'm telling you, every time beforehand, because I knew that the instructor was going to be giving live readings, I said to my mom in spirit, Mom, I'm having a class tonight. If you want to pop in, if you have something to share, I know that Verna will connect with you and it will come through. So I'm open for anything that you want to share with me. So you could do something like that as well. Whenever I am meeting with new clients, I always share a website page that I have that gives them an idea of what to do before their reading. And one of those ideas, or one of the things that you can do, is set your intentions. You might journal about it and you might write to a specific loved one, or you might write to your spirit guides and say, this is, the time that I'm going to be meeting with a medium. What kinds of messages are meant for me? I'm going to be open and willing to receive them at that time. Also, as you're preparing, just remain open to who may come through. Like I said earlier, while you might want to have a specific energy or loved one who has passed over come through, that may or may not happen for you. You might even be surprised and have someone show up, and they may be a passed over ancestor of yours that you've never even met, or maybe you weren't really aware of. Another suggestion that I have is stay clear and present. So for me, I make sure that I am showing up sober. I do not have any recreational drugs or alcoholic beverages before my sessions and leading up days before my sessions, because I want to be a clear channel whenever that guidance is coming through. And alcohol, drugs, they don't go well with energy. They really can muddy that channel. So I always encourage my sitters or my clients to also do the same. Show up sober. And to be honest, I wouldn't want someone showing up to a reading where I am feeling like they're not even able to be fully present because some kind of substance is messing with them. Now, another thing that you might want to consider if you're doing this at home, um, create a quiet space where you don't have to worry about any interruptions or distractions. This is really important because you want to be very relaxed and feeling centered and grounded during this time. And when you are in that safe, sacred space, sometimes you don't want someone coming in on you whenever you are asking very personal questions or sharing information. Whenever I have my meetings, I always tell my family that, if I'm doing something with a client, I share with them, I'm meeting with a client. Please do not disturb me from this time to this time. Or if I am the client and I have a call or a meeting with a medium, or maybe I'm being coached, this can go for any kind of healing service. I let them know, I would really like to have this space alone. I meet downstairs in my office space. So if they need me, they have to come the whole way down here to get me. And I usually can hear them coming. But whenever I am in this sacred time and space with someone, whether I'm the client or I am meeting with a client, I want to be respectful of their time. So the same thing goes for you as you are working with a medium. It is really helpful that you make sure that you have boundaries around the time and space where you are meeting with them. Another thing that you might want to consider is coming prepared with some notes or questions. I was thinking it might be a fun idea to go back through some of my earliest questions for you to just give you an idea of what I have asked of a medium. So let me share some of those with you right now. This one happened to go along with some experiences I was having for the first time where I felt energy present around me. I wanted to know, what the hell is this all about? What energy is coming to me? What am I feeling? Should I be afraid? What is going on? So this was way back before I had any kind of training around intuitive development or spirit communication. And I was just starting to open up my clear senses, and I didn't know exactly how to handle everything that was coming in. So I wanted to know, who is it that I'm sensing coming up the stairs right behind me? I also had this one experience as I'm looking through my notes where I had a past life meditation and I described what happened in this meditation to this medium. And what came through was it was showing me a pattern that has been repeating. It's been coming up again and again. And so this meditation, what was happening was it was challenging me. What do I want to do? Do I want to continue going through this pattern, or am I going to start taking aligned steps and changing my beliefs, changing my thoughts, and changing my actions? And the last thing I'm going to share with you, one thing that I had asked was to show me some concrete steps to know when it's time. Time for what is going to be my own personal business. But I really needed clarity in this question, and I was looking for some guidance. So, as you are developing your questions, I did want to let you know that I do have some topics and some questions going along with very specific categories like your purpose, career path, love, and relationships. Questions that you might consider asking during your own first reading. And that will be found in the guide that you can download if you would like to. Again, that's in the show notes. All right. And a couple more things that you might want to consider. Um, Understand the language of spirit. Spirit will communicate in so many different ways. Some messages might be very clear to the medium. They might be able to hear the exact words or telepathically receive information. But sometimes things come in symbols representing emotions, feelings, or situations that might be happening in your journey. Oftentimes, when I'm receiving symbols or shapes, visions, they directly connect to something that's going on in my life so that I have a little bit of an interpretation to say, okay, I see one thing that's come up is motorcycles. I see you on a motorcycle and you are wearing da 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 da. For me, I really pay attention to what people are wearing because the colors and the outfits change a lot. And I think that aligns with what's happening in the circumstances or situations of the life that is happening for the client. Anyway, whenever I see a motorcycle, I know that for me, motorcycles mean taking risks. So if something like that comes up and I'm saying, I see you on a motorcycle, it might mean something completely different to the client. Maybe I'm sitting with a client who absolutely loves riding motorcycles and it's very freeing for them. But for me, it means taking a risk. So I have to convey that. So a medium should be able to do that for you as well. And the last thing that you might want to do as you are preparing for your session, set the mood. If you are doing this from the comfort of your home, I feel like you have an edge up because you are in your comfort zone. You might want to grab some of your favorite crystals. If you do crystals, maybe you have incense going or some essential oils. Maybe you light a candle. I always have tissues nearby and I have my journal with me to take notes with because you never know what's going to come up. Now, I have had experiences where I've been the client and I have seen a medium in person and some emotional stuff comes up. And I'm not a fan of, if I'm going out in a public place, maybe a local metaphysical store is offering mediumship sessions. If I'm going to go there and something really emotional and raw comes up and I'm sobbing, I don't necessarily want to walk back through the store, showcasing all of my raw emotions. Sometimes things are going to be very calm and you might be lit up and happy about what comes through for you. It really just depends on what messages are meant for you, but really think about your comfort. What is it going to take for you to be very comfortable and present so that you can fully connect in the moment with the experience? All right, now, before we finish up with this episode, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what to do after the reading. There's a lot of processing and reflecting that will happen. I would say, from my experience, that you're going to have a lot of information that comes through. If you're like me, you are going to be taking notes like crazy, and then you have to figure out, well, what am I going to do with all of this stuff? Same thing goes for my clients. Whenever they're finished, I usually have a little bit of time right after to give them some time to process and to ask questions because I feel like it's needed. It's really difficult sometimes when something gets stirred up, or maybe you're left with questions to just say, oh, okay, the time is up and we are done. Sorry, we have no more time left. But when you have a little bit of time afterwards to ask a little bit more or to decompress, or maybe you want to journal about it with your own time. Or one thing that I have loved doing, and this has happened whenever I first started working with Stephanie, who's also been on the podcast. She connects with soul guides. Whenever I first started working with her, after I had messages from my soul guides, I would get on to talk to my sister-in-law, or one of my really close friends and say, this is what happened. Oh my goodness. Now, sometimes I wouldn't share every single detail because some things were really personal to what was going on with me or what the medium said, what Stephanie may have said. But when I'm sharing that information, I also have to know, and you have to realize that if you are receiving information, sometimes it is meant for you right now. And sometimes you might get information that's meant for you right now, but it might not make sense for you right now. And that stuff has happened to me too, where I have shared information with a client, or I have been the client receiving information and thinking, I really don't understand what this has to do with my life right now. So it's always a good idea anyway to just really take some time afterward to sit with your thoughts, sit with your feelings, see what's going on inside your mind, your body, your spirit after these readings. Okay, and one last thing about your post-session care. I always encourage my clients to take it easy, give themselves some grace, and drink some water. Whenever you are all done with a medium, it might be a good idea to ground yourself as well. Maybe put your feet in a salt bath, or maybe you take some incense and clear your own aura, or perhaps you just need to sit and rest. But definitely make sure that whenever you are going to see a medium, you are taking care of yourself from start to finish. You are connecting with someone who is coming with an open heart so that you feel comfortable to open up your heart and get connected. I really hope that this episode has helped you feel a little bit more comfortable in going to see a medium for the first time. If you have been seeing a medium for years and years and years, or maybe this is just not your first rodeo whenever it comes to readings, and you want to share your experiences that I might be able to share with the rest of our listeners, you are welcome to email me at jessica@thejourneytohere.net. Feel free to drop me a couple of lines about your own experiences. Or if you have been a client of mine and you would like to share what things have come up in our sessions and you want to share that with our listeners so that they have a good idea of what is it like to actually have a medium work with you and give you responses, feel free again. I definitely invite you to reach out. Until next time, everybody, I love you all. I am so glad that you have listened to this episode. Maybe you have a friend who's been toying with the idea of going to a medium but still is on the fence, perhaps this episode might be for them. If you're thinking of someone right now, that's your intuition saying, yep, this is the person I should send this episode to. All right, my dear friend, I love you and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being here and for taking the time to listen to the Journey to Hear podcast. If something in today's episode sparked something in you, be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so we can keep walking this healing journey together. To help more listeners find the podcast, please consider writing a review and rating wherever you are listening. Always remember, your intuition is your greatest gift. Trust it, trust yourself, and know you are capable of stepping into the life you deserve. I'll be with you every step of the way. Oh, and don't forget, content and services provided by the Journey to Hear LLC, such as the Journey to Hear podcast, are intended for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. Techniques, strategies, and services offered are not a substitute for the advice, treatment, or diagnosis of a licensed mental health or medical professional. As stipulated by law, we cannot and do not guarantee results or offer legal advice.